This is a challenging practice designed to wake you up and get you going in the morning. We'll especially be working with some back bends and inverted arm balances. I would recommend as prerequisites being able to kick up into handstand at the wall, doesn't have to be middle of the room, just at the wall, and being able to press up into Urdhva Dhanurasana or a full back bend. That will make the practice most beneficial if you're able to do those things. If you're still working on them, we have lots of great practices at yogainternational.com where you can learn how to kick up into handstand at the wall and how to do Urdhva Dhanurasana. So let's start on our backs in Shavasana and settle into your breath. Know when you're breathing in and know when you're breathing out. And even take your thumbs and wrap your thumbs underneath your back ribs and bring your fingers around the sides so you're holding your rib cage, supporting your rib cage. And as you breathe back into your thumbs, into your side ribs. Broaden all the way up into your collarbones. And keep that sense of fullness as you exhale. And perhaps find a little tone in your belly. Keep this sense of tone in your belly and broaden as you inhale. Expand into your thumbs, into the sides. Keep the sense of fullness as you exhale and remember the tone in your belly. Remember the tone in your belly as you inhale and expand. And there'll be some expansion in your upper belly too, so your lower belly supports your breath here. This breath in the back body, support in the back ribs, will be useful when we move into back bends, so you don't collapse so much in your low back. Then release your hands. Stay with this sweet, steady breath. One leg at a time, draw your knees into your chest. Rock onto a side. And then we'll meet up in downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a few breaths to explore your down dog. Pedal your feet or shift your hips or pivot your heels. Move around in any way that feels interesting. And eventually find stillness. Press into the pads of your fingers right behind the nail beds. Press into the mounds below your fingers, your lower knuckles, and keep them rooted as you shift forward into plank pose. Stack your shoulders over your wrists, your heels over the balls of your feet, and without moving your hands on your feet, press back to down dog. Avoid rocking back on your wrist. Keep the pads of your fingers, your lower knuckles rooted. That's it. Lift your inner armpits up. Nice. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward. Uttanasana, standing forward bend. Stand strong in your feet, bend your knees. Walk your hands to your hips. Point your elbows to the sky. Press down and rise up. Release your hands and separate your feet as wide as your mat. Then interlace your hands behind your back for a shoulder stretch. Keep a little bend in your elbows here. That'll help you broaden through your collarbones. Broaden your collarbones and remember the breath in the back body. Broaden your collarbones, lift your sternum, and start to stretch your knuckles away from your pelvis. Still keep that little bend in your elbows. And on your next exhale, bow forward. Bend your knees and bow. Notice if the weight tends to shift back into your heels. If it does, bring it a little more forward so you balance over your arches. Keep the bend in your elbows. Try to keep your wrists straight here, so palms more together. And then as you balance over your arches, move your chest forward a little like cobra. Lead with your chest, though, not your chin. Yeah, back of the neck stays long. Press down into your feet and lead with your chest to rise up. Release your hands and step your feet back together. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Take a halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, plank pose. Press your hands down and forward a little in plank. See if you can feel the corresponding lift in your belly. Lift your inner thighs up. Keep your thighs lifted. Broaden your collarbones. Move your chest forward. And stay really full and supported in the back ribs and waistline. Line up the back of your head with the back of your pelvis. Keep your thighs lifted. And now shift forward onto the balls of your feet so shoulders come past your wrist. Keep your shoulders higher than your elbows, lower through chaturanga, and pause at the bottom. Pause here. Keep your shoulders at least the same height as your elbows. Stay broad, lower down. Stretch your legs back, and then inhale, rise up, cobra pose. Lead with your chest, then move your head back to follow. Exhale, bow forward. And again, lead with your chest, not your chin. Rise up, cobra pose. Exhale, bow. One more time. Inhale, rise up. Broaden your collarbones, lift your sternum. And exhale, release. Keep the fronts of your shoulders lifted away from the floor. Don't worry so much about squeezing your elbows in. It's more important that the front of the chest stays broad. Tuck your toes. Use your belly and press to hands and knees or plank. Downward facing dog. From your belly, lift your right leg up. Inhale. Exhale, lightly step through. Lunge. Stack your front knee over your heel, your back heel over the ball of your foot. Keep your legs steady and strong and climb your hands up onto your front thigh. Press into your front thigh, feel the corresponding lift in your belly, especially on that right side. Move your right outer hip back. Keep the integrity in your belly and reach your arms up. Remember the breath in the back ribs, the side ribs. Keep your right arm lifted now and lower your left fingertips to the floor. And you're going to twist belly, rib cage, and chest toward the right. Instead of reaching your right arm way back behind you, actually err on the side of having your hand more forward. That'll help you settle your shoulder back. And then with your shoulders stacked, you can reach straight up. Nice. Every inhale, find a little more length. Every exhale, a little more twist. Now keep your legs super steady and strong. Stay in your twist, and on your next inhale, you're going to lift your torso. So your arms are up like a T. It's like warrior two in your upper body, but palms face forward. Good. Lift your back thigh up. Sink your front thigh forward. Twist from your belly. And then windmill open to warrior two, your next inhale. Great. Keep your front knee bending. Move your hands a little higher and a little forward of your shoulders, so again, you can settle your shoulders back. Inhale, spin your right palm up. Exhale, reverse warrior. Reach up and over. Press your left thigh back into your hand. Lift the right side of your belly up. Bend your front knee another inch. Exhale, touch the floor. Plant your hands, come to plank or three-legged plank. If you're in three-legged plank, your right foot will be lifted. So if you're in Triyanga, your right leg is lifted. Shift your shoulders forward, lower down, Chaturanga or Triyanga, top of the feet on the floor. Rise up, Cobra, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Great. From your belly, lift your left leg up, three-leg dog. Level your pelvis. That's it. Exhale, lightly step through. Keep your back leg strong. Climb your hands on your front thigh. Press into your thigh and lift your belly, especially on the left side. Move your left outer hip back. Keep your legs strong and rise up, high lunge. Remember the breath in the back body. Keep your left arm lifted. Lower your right fingertips to the floor and twist. Belly, rib cage, chest to the left. Again, avoid reaching your left arm back behind you. Instead, bring the hand more forward. With the hand forward, you can more easily settle the head of the arm bone back. Then when your shoulders are stacked, reach straight up. Every inhale, find more length. Every exhale, more twist. Then stay in the twist, keep your legs strong, and rise up. A T-shaped twisted lunge. Your palms will face forward here. Again, keep your legs strong, the twist in your middle back, from the back of your right ribs. Your next inhale, windmill open, Virabhadrasana 2, spin your back foot flat. Steady, strong legs. Bring your hands a little more forward, a little higher, so you can easily settle the shoulders back. Spin your left palm up, inhale. Exhale, reverse warrior, reach up and over. Press your left thigh back, or your right thigh back. Press your right thigh back. Lift your left belly up. Bend your left knee an inch deeper. Exhale, release. Plank or three-legged plank. Chaturanga or Triyanga. Lower down. Tops of the feet on the floor, up dog or cobra. Use your belly, downward facing dog. Pause and feel. Keep your finger pads rooted. That's it. From your belly, lift your right leg up. Exhale, step forward to lunge. Lower your back knee down to the floor, a little behind your hip, and then climb your hands up onto your front thigh. Press your hands into your thigh, and again, feel the corresponding lift in your belly. Even bring your hands around your ribs, just like you did in that first Shavasana. Breathe back into your back ribs, your side ribs. Lengthen all the way up. Keep that sense of fullness and lift, and bring your hands to your heart center. Inhale, lengthen, lift from the back ribs, the front ribs. And as you exhale, twist from the back of your left ribs, and see if you can hook your left elbow outside of your right knee. If this isn't working for you today, come back to left fingertips on the floor, stretch your right arm up just like before. Press your shin against your arm against your shin, get that connection. And keep the twist in your middle back. Initiate with the back of your left ribs. You might reach back through your left inner heel and lift your left thigh up. You might lower your your left fingertips to the floor. You might lower your left fingertips to the floor and stretch your right arm up. And you might work into a bind if that's your practice. If you're binding, your bottom hand holds your top wrist. You can use a strap here too. Lift your back thigh up. Push into me. Push up with your thigh and twist from your middle back. On an inhale, release. Exhale, downward dog. From your belly, lift your left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, lightly step through. Lower your back knee down. Climb your hands onto your thigh. Press into your thigh, lift your belly, move your left outer hip back, and bring your hands to your heart. Actually, bring your hands to your rib cage here too first. Breathe back into your thumbs, even a little lower with the thigh. Yeah, so you can breathe right into the back ribs, the side ribs. Keep that really, really full. And then bring your hands to heart center. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist from the back of your right ribs. Initiate the twist from the back of the right ribs. Press your elbow against your leg against your elbow. Breathe your collarbones up into your thumbs. You can stay here, or you can reach back through your inner right heel to lift your right thigh up. You might bring your right fingertips to the floor and stretch your left arm up. Or you might work into a bind. Reach your left arm around your right arm under. Every inhale, find a little more length. Every exhale, a little more twist. And make sure that you're able to breathe. On an inhale, release. Plant your hands, step back, downward dog. Keep your fingers rooted. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees, look forward, Uttanasana. Bend your knees a lot, walk your hands to your hips, point your elbows to the sky, stand strong and rise up. So now we're going to move our mats to a wall to work on some arm balancing inversions and back bending postures. So you want to move the short edge of your mat to a free wall that you can kick up against. So once you have your mat to the wall, we're going to prepare for a 1-minute handstand. Holding poses for time is great to do if you don't have a lot of time in the morning. You really want a nice energizing practice because it's pretty straightforward and simple, yet way challenging at the same time. So we're going to start with a 1-minute handstand. Face the wall with your hands a palm print away from the wall. Downward facing dog. Take a little shorter dog here, and then shift your shoulders over your wrists, and step 1 foot forward about halfway. You have your shoulders over your wrists. Inhale, lift your leg up. Exhale, bend your knee and kick up. Great. Minute starts now. Hug your legs in toward each other and push the floor away. Reach up through your heels. Engage your deep low belly between those pelvic points. Lift your belly, push the floor away, reach up. A fun challenge you can work with is try to only lift your feet up off the wall if you can lift both feet together. So you really have to activate your belly, push the floor away, and push up through the heels so both heels come up off the wall together or they stay there. The more you push the floor away, the lighter you get, the less likely you are to collapse into your shoulders. That was about a minute. Go ahead and lower down. And take a little rest in child's pose. So second round, you can either hold handstand again for a minute, or you can do a Pinchamayurasana, forearm stand. I like to practice Pinchamayurasana holding onto a block. Helps me to keep my forearms parallel. So her shoulders are over her elbows, and she's going to press up into a dolphin. She's hugging the block in, pushing the floor away. Step 1 foot in, and kick up when you're ready. Minute starts now. And same thing here. Hug the block, push the floor away, reach up through your heels. So if the heels come up off the wall, they come up together. They slide up and over. Keep the support in your belly and keep pushing the floor away so you don't collapse in your lower back. Remember the broadness of the chest, the collarbones. This is a back bend. You're almost there. And that was about a minute. Go ahead and lower one leg at a time. And take a rest in child's. Next, we're going to prepare for back bends with a thigh stretch at the wall. I highly recommend having some padding underneath your knee. So I like to place a blanket right up against the wall. It's also a little easier to come into the pose initially if you have blocks under your hands. So you're going to come to the wall and place your blocks under your hands. And go ahead and come so you're on hands and knees facing straight forward. Great. And then slide your right knee straight back against the wall. Good. Now before you go any further, make sure that your foot isn't sickled, that your toes are pointing straight up. Your foot can come a little outside your hip. That'll make it a little bit deeper of a stretch, but you don't want it to drop inside. And you might even stay right here, or you can press into the blocks, slide your left foot forward, and drag across your foot, and you're probably going to feel a pretty intense stretch in your quadricep of that back leg. Resist the urge to just push the back thigh forward to deepen the stretch. Press into your blocks. Find the tone in your belly. As you tone your belly, move your thighs, your inner thighs, back toward the wall. Then lift your belly. You can stay here. You can bring your hands around your side ribs. It's easy to collapse in the low back here. Feel the fullness. Feel the support of your breath. If you feel stable there, you might even stretch your arms alongside your ears. Spin your pinkies in toward each other. Tone your belly. Broaden your collarbones. Keep the breath and the fullness here. Lift the back ribs. And exhale, touch the floor. Bring your front knee back first, and then slide your back knee straight forward so there's no risk of twisting or torquing that knee. And then step your left knee straight back against the wall. Make sure your toes are pointing straight up, and step your right foot forward. And you might just stay down on your blocks too, depending on how tight your quads are. Like if you're a cyclist, you might keep your hands down. This can get pretty intense. You could walk your hands up to your thigh. And as you press into the thigh, you can find the corresponding lift in the left side. Narrow your pelvic points, move your thighs back, lift your belly up, perhaps hands around the ribs. You can breathe especially back into your thumbs here, back into what tends to want to compress. Keep that full. And if you like, stretch your arms up. And exhale, touch the floor. If your hands are up, touch your blocks. Bring your front knee back first. Then slide your back knee forward. Now we're a little bit more open for back bends. So we're going to take a couple variations of Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow pose. You can just stick to bridge pose, but today we're going to teach upward facing bow. So for this first one, Jen, I want you to lie down with your head facing the wall. So it'll be the opposite way. Yeah. And your head won't totally be touching the wall here, but it'll be about like, I once had a teacher tell me, like, if you think of like somebody's hair in the 80s, like it would be an 80s hairdo away from the wall. I always remembered that one. And then place your hands so that they're alongside your ears. Good. And check out her elbows. They're not splaying open. They're kind of at 45-degree angles. So she can draw from her elbows down into her armpits. Good. Now when you come up, try to avoid coming onto the top of your head. Instead, we're going to lift the hips and see if you can press straight up. If your arms straighten, then you can drop your head. If not, don't drop your head. Ground down strong through your legs and even pump your chest back toward the wall. Try to kiss the wall. And to come down, tuck your chin, lower your upper back, middle back, and lower back. And take a few resting breaths. Resist the urge to hug your knees into your chest. We're not done yet. And we're going to take another one like that. Frame your head with your hands. Draw from your elbows into your armpits. Lift your hips up. And then try to come up without coming onto the top of your head. That'll keep your neck happier. Straighten your arms, then release your head. And even walk your feet back a little closer to your hands. That's it. Turn your heels out a little bit. Now pump your chest back toward the wall like you're trying to kiss the wall. Relax your head. And even play with standing strong in your left foot and see if you can lift your right leg. Place your right foot down, see if you can lift your left leg. Nice. Place your left foot down. Now walk your feet forward, because you walked back, walk forward. Now lower your upper back first, your middle back, and your lower back. If you walk your feet forward, you avoid that tricky knee pushy forward Urdhva Dhanurasana dance so many of us do. One more round. For this one, let's turn around so feet are facing the wall. We're going to take this into a walkover. So if you're not familiar with this variation, then watch first and rewind and then perhaps give it a try. So our feet are basically touching the wall, maybe just a little further back away from the wall, like an inch or so, centimeter. Everybody's proportions are a little different, so we can't exactly talk in inches, centimeters, but place your hands alongside your ears. Integrate your shoulders. Draw from your elbows back to your armpits. Keep space between your neck and your floor here, and the floor here. And then lift your hips. And press your arms towards straight. Then, only if your arms are straight, release your head. Pump your chest back. Stretch down through your legs. Place one foot on the wall. Press into the wall. See if you can pick your other foot up. And just as easy as pie, she kicked over. So, if you have a strong Urdhva Dhanurasana, I would recommend giving that a try because it's a lot easier than you might think it is with the wall there. Once you've finished your walkovers, let's wind down a bit. Those could be pretty energizing, and have a seat. We're going to sit on a blanket for fire log. So bring your bottom shin, let's say your left shin will be the bottom shin, so it's parallel with the upper edge of your mat, and flex your foot strongly. And then bring your right shin on top. Flex your right foot so it actually is going to come off the top of the left thigh. Does not matter if your knee lifts up. However, if that's uncomfortable for you, place a block in front of your bottom knee and place your right foot, your top foot, on the block instead. So just go ahead and show that. Good, and then you can bring it back. And can you do it without using your hand? Yeah, your knee's a little happier if you do it without using your hand. Now if you're in the pose and you want to get a little bit deeper into the hips here, rock over onto your right side and catch yourself with your right hand. And bring your left hand to your inner left thigh, so actually from the inside, and push your inner left thigh over to the left, so you're going to internally rotate. That's it. So you get more internal rotation. Then when you sit back down, you might find you're just a little more stacked. Great. You can stay upright or fold forward. If you're folding, you might bring your hands to the bottoms of your feet and hug in. Keep your feet flexed and make sure that your front foot is hanging off of your thigh, not resting on your thigh. That'll prevent you from sickling your foot, and again, it'll help keep your knees aligned and safe. And breathe as though you could breathe into wherever you feel a stretch here. On an inhale, come upright. Now, if you can uncross your legs without using your hands, do that. Don't do it just yet, though. If you can't uncross without using your hands, here's the trick. Bring your left thumb, or a thumb, to your heel, and then push forward and just plop your foot off. Push and plop. That'll be safer for your knee. And then change sides. Good. Flex Flex your bottom foot. There you go. Great. So take the same variation on this side that you took on the other side. And then if your shins are stacked and you want to get a little deeper into your hips, this time you'll rock over onto your left side here and move your right inner thigh to the right and sit back down. And either remain upright or take it into a fold. I recommend holding on to the bottoms of your feet, pressing into the bottoms of your feet, at least at first if you fold. That'll help to create a nice little container for your fire here. This is Agni Stambhasana in Sanskrit. And breathe into your Agni Stambhasana wherever you feel the most sensation. Perhaps your outer hips, hip creases. If it's in your knees, come out of it. And then on an inhale, let's all come out of it. If you can uncross without using your hands, do that. Otherwise, bring your thumb to your heel and push forward. Now bring the soles of your feet together like Baddha Konasana, but take a little longer Baddha Konasana, a Tarasana. So you're actually going to walk your feet more forward. Yeah, there you go. Press your fingertips into the floor and lengthen your spine. So here's a little bit of a trick, a little bit of a gauge that you can use. If you can open the big toe sides of your feet away from each other like a book, then that is an indicator that it's safe for you to fold forward. If the big toe sides of your feet feel absolutely glued and stuck together, it will be the most advantageous for you if you remain upright and work on the extension. If you can separate your big toes, feel free to bow forward. And you might find with the feet more forward, you're able to maintain more length through your spine as you bow. It's the main difference between Tarasana, star pose, and Baddha Konasana, or butterfly pose, which is with the feet a little closer in, or the hips a little closer to the feet. So we did a lot of energizing poses. Now we get to ground that energy, settle into our day. Hopefully with a little bit more focus, clarity, and sense of levity to take with us. On an inhale, come upright. We don't want to get too sleepy. And then bring your hands to your outer knees, draw your legs in. Because we're at the wall, legs up the wall is a great place to finish today. Do you want a blanket under your pelvis? You can practice with a blanket under your pelvis, just a little bit away from the wall, just so your tailbone can hang off the blanket. Or a bolster. If you happen to have a yoga strap at home, it can be lovely to wrap the strap around your feet or ankles, or even just place a sandbag or bag of flour right on top of your feet. That'll help settle the heads of your thigh bones back. Wherever you are, settle back. Soften your belly so it's free to rise and fall as you breathe. This part of class, there's no gripping, no holding in the belly. Just gets to totally relax so that your breath can move freely as it will and as it wants to. Every inhale, nurturing, nourishing, energizing. And every exhale, cleansing, relaxing, and relieving. Feel free to stay in legs up the wall pose for as long as you like. I recommend at least 5 minutes. And if you really have a bit of time for your day, it's a great idea then to just go right into a 5-minute shavasana and settle in and relax there. But whenever you find that it's time to conclude your practice, bend your knees and place your feet on the wall. And roll onto a side, probably whichever side in your home or studio has the least amount of stuff on it. And then keeping your legs and pelvis heavy, come up to seated. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Namaste.